All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys can see me. We have 28 people in here today. Welcome to the Skill Hat webinar series. We're super excited to have everyone here today. It's actually my first time trying out this live stream, web streams. We're super excited that everyone's here. Just want to make sure everyone can see me and hear me. So just help me out. Put a comment in the chat if you can hear me. You can see my screen. Right now, you should be seeing a screen that says Skill Hat Webinar Series. I'm just gonna ensure everyone can see me. Perfect. And I'm gonna just stop sharing on the YouTube because I see that the YouTube might be causing a bad quality. Yep, I can see you loud and clear. What's up, Carol? Hi, Christian Osato. How are you? Nee, okay, great. Awesome. Super excited to have everyone here today. Let's jump right into today's material. Today, we have a lot of us here who want to be project managers, some want to be BAs, and some don't really know where to go. So we're going to kind of tackle that today to figure out where are we better suited. And so the agenda, we're going to talk about, we're going to introduce ourselves. So I'll introduce myself. And we have a kind of a poll for you guys to introduce yourselves as well. We'll talk about what exactly project management is and what business analysis is, what a PM, what a project manager does, and what a business analyst does. We'll look at the difference between both roles, which is why you're here. You're trying to figure out what's the difference and where am I better suited. We'll look at how they work together. So in every given project, a BA and a PM will work together. We'll look at the personality traits that are better suited for either role, right? So which personality is better suited for a PM versus a BA. We'll also look at the pathway. So how do you actually get into a BA role and how do you get into a business analyst role, a project manager role? So I know the webinar timing set 30 minutes. That was the goal. We may have to do this in 40 or 45 in terms of my presentation. It was a little hard to pack everything into 30. And so bear with us. It's going to be recorded. It's recorded anyway. I'm just going to double check that we're recording. Yes, I see we're recording. So if we are over time, you got to get back to work. Feel free to hop off. It's going to be recorded. We'll share it on our YouTube channel as well. So who is this for, right? Who's the audience today? It's for those with limited exposure to either project management or business analysis. So maybe you are a PM and you don't know what BA is really about, or you're a BA and you're trying to figure out what is project management about, or you don't have exposure to either, right? If you're looking to land a PM or BA job, you want to get one of those. This is for you. And then 3, project managers who need to work with BAs and vice versa. So sometimes as a PM, you might have the first opportunity to manage or work with a BA. And as a BA, you want to figure out, how do I effectively work with this, my PM, who's a little bit crazy and so super strict, right? So how do you figure that out, right? How do you work better together? And for those people in HR and hiring managers who hire into these roles, this webinar will also help you figure out how to better hire, better find, and essentially better compensate the right PM or BA. Okay, so that's the agenda and that's the audience. We're going to talk about who we are. So Skill Hat, who is Skill Hat? We are a training and staffing company. We're based in Toronto, Canada, and Houston, Texas. We provide expert instructor-led training and career development to position motivated professionals like yourselves for your dream careers. We support the career transition and pivot. We understand that it's hard to transition to a new career. It's like drinking out of a fire hose, right? It's a lot of new terms, new stakeholders, new skill sets. You're super uncomfortable. And so we support you through that process through our training and our staffing services. We support the pivot as well. So someone to pivot from where they are, maybe it's oil and gas or banking or engineering into tech, or from technology into strategy. We support that process with you, for you. So with Skill Hat, you can pivot, transition, and grow with a mentor by your side. Whenever you take a course with us, you will have a one-on-one mentor after the course who will help you on your career journey. So you belong here if you want to transition into tech. You are a newcomer into either Canada, the US, or the UK, or anywhere in Europe, and you want to get certified or promoted from where you are in your current role to a higher role. And if you're a new graduate and you want to learn strategy or technology, this is the place to be. So we have our project management track and our BA track, some of our courses. We have other courses as well, but within these 2 tracks, we have a certified Scrum Master course, that's the CSM, that's 2 days, and a project management training course, very immersive course. That one's a 10 weekend course, 10 Saturdays. I'm gonna put a timer for myself just to see how I'm doing on time. I'm gonna start that right now. Okay, we're good. Then for the BA track, we have the Certified Scrum Product Owner, CSPO. That's 2 days as well from Scrum Alliance through us. And then we have the BA course, which is a 7-weekend course on Friday and Saturday. So 4 different courses that you can take if you want to get into a PM or a BA role. So about myself, a little bit more about who's this guy speaking, telling you all these things. I'm going to be talking a lot about my project work and my business analyst work. So the intro will add a lot of context to it. So I started off getting educated. I went to the University of Toronto in Canada, Mississauga, where I studied a hybrid program combining business and technology. It's called Digital Enterprise Management. That set me up to get into my first role as a project manager and a BA. So first lesson, you can be both. If you are trying to figure out, can I be both a PM and a BA? Yes. My first job, I was doing both. So I was working at a company called Future Strategies. I was a project manager responsible to manage my clients in the health technology space. So we built healthcare technology, healthcare websites and applications. My clients included the biggest charity in Canada called the Heart and Stroke Foundation, as well as a bunch of other apps that we built for eye surgery. And so as a PM, I was responsible to set project schedules, document the project contracts, manage teams. As a BA, I did some requirements management, so understanding my clients' needs, documenting them, designing some wireframes, doing some software testing as well. We'll learn all about that in the skill sets today. So I did something interesting after that. I did that job for about a year. So this is sometime in 2014 after I graduated in 2012. I went to Nigeria. I worked for 2 companies back home in Nigeria where I'm from. I worked for a company called Andela, and I worked for Edutech. At Andela, we found the smartest people in Africa, and we train them and place them as software developers for top US and Canadian companies such as IBM, Facebook, and Google. That was an amazing mission I did there as a project manager, helped build a company from 10 people to now over 1,000 people today. Then I left to work as an executive, as a vice president and product owner at a company called Edutech. A product owner is a BA who was a little bit more senior, working in an agile environment. And as a product owner, my role was to drive innovation for our e-learning programs. So at Edutech, my claim to fame is that I helped drive the team that built the first online MBA in Nigeria. At Edutech, we built online versions of on-campus programs. So that was also amazing in the sense that pre-COVID in 2014, we advanced the mission of e-learning. Like this work, what we're doing right now is e-learning, but back then it was hard to justify that e-learning was actually a viable way of getting education. And that's the mission we had to drive. Then I came back to Canada, worked as a project manager for the government, for the city of Toronto. I hated that job, worst job ever. You would have thought that, I thought it was going to be a massive job, big job, look good on your resume, government, but it was just really slow, bureaucratic. For me, I like more fast-paced environment. So I left there and went to work as a PM and a BA at the biggest insurance brokerage in the world called Marsh Canada. So after working there as a BA and a PM, we got acquired, and the acquiring company promoted me to assistant vice president and technical product manager. And I did that role for about 3 years, and I left that to start SkillHat. So that's a bit about my experience. The one trend you'll see is that I've been a project manager and a BA pretty much all my career in technology spaces. So I'll be talking about that. As far as training and coaching goes, that's my passion. That's what I love to do. I've developed globally accredited training courses with PMI, with IIBA and Scrum Alliance. In the last 3 years alone, I've personally trained over 300 business analysts and project managers in-class settings and online, many of whom have gone on to land really successful jobs, life-changing jobs. So some of you guys are here today. How's everyone doing? You guys are killing it out there. Keep on killing it. And I've helped companies lead something called the PMO and facilitated the enterprise transformation of different companies. So we're about 10 minutes in, we've done our intros. Let's jump right to today's material. So what exactly is project management? So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna launch a poll right now. If you are in Zoom, you can see a poll. And the question is for you. So I introduced myself and our company. What are you trying to get into? So what role are you trying to get into? Is it more project management or more BA? So I see we're getting a lot of votes now. Right now we have 45 people in this webinar. I see right now the numbers are changing, so I'll wait a little bit to report it. But interesting enough, I can see that it's almost 50-50 in terms of PM and BA. I'll wait a little bit more before I report the data. Okay. Most of you have voted, so we have 35 or 44 votes. Awesome. We have 31% want to go PM, 32% want to go BA, 38% want to go both. You guys are very ambitious. That's pretty interesting. That's great. That's great. That's what I did. And so I definitely think that's something that's doable. If I could do it, I'm not the smartest guy. You can do it too. So again, we have 30% project manager, 32% business analyst, 38% both, and 0% say neither. Obviously, why would you be here if you don't want to get into neither? So thanks for that. Let's jump right to it. So what is project management, right? What is that domain? What is that skill set? It is a process of leading the work of a team to achieve all the project goals within the given constraint. So you're leading the team to do work to achieve project goals. So the first thing then becomes, what exactly is a project, right? Because really a project manager manages projects. That's it. That's a very simple definition. So then what is a project? Well, a project is a temporary group of related tasks to create something unique, right? So it's not forever. It's a specific start date and end date. It's time limited. It's also unique. At the end of a project, we have to build something new. So if we work at, for example, at Nike, and they build every single day, we build Nike Air Force Ones, Nike Air Maxes, or Nike Air Yeezys, or whatever Nikes we're building. It's the same shoe every day. That is not a project. That is operational. And so with project management, with projects, it has to be something new, a new design, a new product, a new website, for example, a new marketing campaign. A project has multiple activities, so it's not just one simple task. There's many tasks coming together, and the output becomes the deliverable of that project. And it's for a specific purpose. So then who is a project manager? A PM, you might hear me refer to PM as project manager or PM as project management. You kind of discern in the context that I use it. A PM, a project manager, is responsible for managing resources, right? So you manage human resources, people, intellectual resources, knowledge, and capital resources, money, to deliver the value to a customer. So you're managing resources as a PM. And a PM, I manage several projects and teams. So my past roles, sometimes I'm managing as many as 5 or 6 projects at a single go. Sometimes there's just one massive project, sometimes there's 2. So you may manage one or multiple projects as a PM. So as a PM, what are you doing every single day, right? What are you doing day to day? Well, you might kick off a project, for example. You might create a project plan. You might create a project schedule, a project budget. You might hire a project team. You might direct the team's activities and say, hey, start this first, do this next. You might create a project report to your project sponsor and your stakeholders, and you might manage project risks, right? That's what you do on a day-to-day basis. Okay, I'll leave that there a little bit for you to see. And you might resolve some project issues. So we're starting off defining the roles. For some of you, this is pretty much clear. You know exactly what this means. But for some of us here who are brand new, I know we have, for example, a nurse in here who's trying to learn about these skill sets. We're going to define everything and assume zero knowledge. So that's project management. What is business analysis? Well, business analysis is the practice of enabling change in a company, an enterprise, by defining the needs. What are the business needs? Who are the stakeholders? What are their needs? What are the solutions that will solve this business need? And so a BA will recommend solutions that drive value to stakeholders. BAs will seek to understand the current state, which means we understand where are things today. Whenever you go into a company as a consultant, you don't start making changes right away. It's first of all defining the current state. What exactly is the problem? Okay, why is that a problem? Okay, why is that a problem? And you keep asking why and why and why until you get to the root cause, right? You will define the future state once you understand the current state, saying, okay, the current state is we are right now having this problem with our operations or with our distribution. The future state is that we have seamless distribution, or the future state is that we have customers receiving orders in less than 24 hours, right? That's the future state. Current state is that customers might receive an order in 3 or 4 days. So how do we get there? The work to get there is the project, and the work that you do to document those requirements is business analysis. So a BA will determine the activities required to go from the current state to the future state. One thing to note here is that a BA is always enabling change. So whenever you work as a BA, you're always making some sort of change, right? And so as a PM as well. So who is a BA? Who's a business analyst? A BA is any person who performs BA tasks, period. So as long as you're enabling change, you're defining needs, you're recommending solutions, you are a BA. So you've probably done that in your previous roles. You've done BA work. And that's one thing that we always instill in our students. Think about if you're trying to get into a BA role, start calling yourself a BA, right? Start thinking about all the BA work that you've done in the past, even if you didn't have a BA job title. And so a BA, we already mentioned this before. So what might you do on a day-to-day as a BA? You might elicit business requirements. You might document those requirements in a requirements document. So to elicit means to ask the questions, to kind of drag it out. I see comments in the slides, someone saying be a little bit slower with the slides. Okay, I'll take a little bit slower. Sounds good. But remember, the recording is available, so feel free to watch that after. And I'm known to do this, right? People always say more goes super fast. I'm like, go, go, go. Okay, I'll take it down a little bit. I'll slow down. Thank you for that feedback. A BA might model business processes. So what does that mean? You might have to design a visual representation of how an actual process works. So for example, I like to use HR. We all understand HR, where when a person's hired into a company, there's many stakeholders. There's the HR administrator who does the work. There's a hiring manager. There's the IT team who might give them a device. And there's a person who got hired. There's 4 stakeholders there. So the process might be the HR person drafts the contract. The person signs the contract, who's getting the role. Then an email goes to the hiring manager to confirm what software that they need. Okay, they're going to a marketing role. They need marketing software. They need a MacBook. They need lighting, and they need the office space. Then IT goes and configures that device based on what the hiring manager says. Then that person gets their device, and they have to come to the office to get it. So that's a massive process, right, in HR. So what if that process was slow or we had to improve it? First of all, as a BA, you will model that process. So again, a model is a visual representation of a real activity. So you would draw, for example, a swim lane diagram that showed all the stakeholders in the process, how it works today, and maybe show that the blocker in the process, the longest step is maybe where IT configures it, and the gap is IT does not get the information early. And so you have to show, okay, how do we improve that process for IT to get it earlier and configure it faster, get some automation in there, some repeatable processes. And that's what you call modeling business processes. That's one of the things that you do as a BA. You will also design a prototype or a wireframe. A prototype is like a mock-up, or a wireframe is essentially how an app or a website will function before it's actually built. And so if you look at apps like WhatsApp or Zoom, let's use an app like Instagram, where how you scroll through Instagram, if you see a picture you like, you double tap, you like it. The bottom left shows the heart sign that turns red. As a BA, when you're conceptualizing a new application or a new piece of software, you're going to model it. You're going to actually do a wireframe, And a wireframe is like a skeleton of how the final thing will look. So a user experience designer, a UI designer, will design the final thing. However, a BA will do a prototype where he kind of sketches it out. You could even do it in pencil and paper. And then we have some sketch tools that we use, high fidelity sketch tools like Balsamic, that we as BAs use to design interfaces, how they look before they're then designed, before they're then built by a development team. You might have to prioritize requirements and say, okay, we're going to work on this first before the other. As a BA, you might perform some testing. So this is a quality assurance function where you're testing a piece of software. We have to build a business case. So what is a business case? A business case is a document that justifies investment into a project. So you're going to learn all of that as a BA to figure out, I have a project, I have many different options. I have option A and option B to solve this business need. I take option A, how much is it going to cost? Take option B, how much is it going to cost? Which one has a higher projected revenue? And which one will I get to my revenue faster? Which one has a higher risk? And then you recommend a solution. That's part of what you do as a BA. You might have to do a configuration of the system. This is a more advanced skill set where you have to configure permissions, maybe because the HR person has more permissions than a regular user. You might have a power user, that kind of thing. So configuration is also what you might do as a BA. And then user training. So whenever you make a change, we talked about BAs who make changes into a system, a business process, or an app, or technology. You might have to train the users to make them understand this is exactly what we can expect from the system. This is the change that's been made. This is how it makes your work better. And you may have to do a training like we're doing right now, right? I'm training you guys. You may have to train your other stakeholders, your customers, or your client, or your users of your product. Okay, how are we doing on time? We are 20 minutes in. Whew, Time flies, and we're not even halfway. I think we're halfway. Okay, I'm gonna not go too fast. I got the feedback, so I'll kind of slow it down. If we gotta go over, we gotta go over. Okay, so what are some different job titles that you might have as a BA? Before we go there, there's one more. As a BA, you might have to monitor change compliance, the system adoption. So whenever you make a change, for example, everyone may have to be compliant with this new piece of software, but we have some rogues, some people who are doing it the old way. You might have to kind of help them, get into the new way of doing things by monitoring compliance and adoption. Now, there's many different titles that you might have as a PM and a BA, right? For example, you might see a project coordinator for PM. You might see a project lead. So going forward, all the project manager type explanations and concepts will be on the left. The BA concepts will be on the right. So it'll be a little bit consistent as you go through the slides. So different job titles that you might have for a project manager. You might have a project coordinator, you might have a project lead, scheduler, a manager, functional manager, a scrum master, resource manager. So these are all different variations of the project management role, which is still the same thing, to manage resources, people, time, and money. Now, whenever you get more senior in your career as a PM, you might then go into having a title like a senior PM, like I had, or a program manager, which is someone who manages a group of projects. A senior PM might manage maybe a higher budget. As a junior PM or project coordinator, you might not even have budget responsibilities. Whereas as a senior PM, you start to get to projects with budgets in the tens of millions of dollars, for example. You might have other titles like portfolio manager and then PMO manager. To understand these more, when you get in the actual PM class, it'll make more sense to you what these specific roles are, such as program manager. How is that different from portfolio manager, from a PMO manager? Now, on the BA side of things, we have other BA job titles, such as a business systems analyst, a systems analyst, process analyst, a product manager, product owner, a customer success, or a product adoption analyst, a consultant. Yes, a consultant at Accenture is a business analyst, like my wife was, or a data analyst, right? These are all variations of that BA role. A BA might also just be a researcher who does research on customer behavior, doing surveys and all of that. That's part of the BA skill set, and so you might have that title. Now, for more senior BA roles, you might have a title called a senior BA, or a senior product manager, or a senior consultant. Left side, these are all variations of the PM function and different job titles. Right side, same thing for BAs. So here's what you came here for, right? This is the meat of the whole thing. What is the difference between a BA and a PM? Grab some water there. Okay, let's just see what we have in the questions. We have stuff in Q&A. Let me see. I can't seem to see it, so I'll check it out later. The first thing is accountability. The PM is accountable for project success, whereas the BA is not. That's the first difference. So as a PM, you get handed off a project. Your job is to, migrate this data to the cloud, or run this specific event, like a wedding, or upgrade this piece of infrastructure, this technology, or redesign this website, right? You are accountable to deliver success. You must take that project budget and the resources and get to the end that the stakeholders want, make your customer happy in the end. You are accountable for project success. The BA will support you as a PM, but the ultimate buck stops with you. So accountability means that if it's not successful, you are the one who will face the consequences. Whereas responsibility is different. In regards to who's responsible for what, the PM will manage the project resources, while the BA will manage the project requirements, right? So that's, if you don't remember anything today, remember that. PM will manage resources, BA will manage requirements. Resources, again, being people, time, money, whereas requirements meaning specifics of the solution, right? Breaking it down, what's the business requirements? Okay, who are the different stakeholders? What are their requirements? What are the functions of the system? For example, requirements of building a photo sharing app could be, I want to be able to add a filter to the photo. That's one requirement of that app. A requirement of an app like WhatsApp, a messaging app, is I want to know when someone's read the message. So as a BA, your job is to get a sense of every single requirement of that app and then prioritize those requirements, while the BA is more so managing the people, the money who are doing the work. So far, so good. I hope it makes sense. I can't seem to see this Q&A thing. So if you put a question in the Q&A, please feel free to just put it in the chat maybe, unless you want it to be anonymous, and I can check that at the end of our presentation. Business context. This is important to know. A PM will only work on projects by default because you are a project manager, and a project has a beginning and an end. Whereas the BA will work on both projects and operations, right? We haven't differentiated projects versus ops. Ops is a short form for operations. And so a BA might work on just business operations, just everyday business, just making it better. It might not be a project, it might be adding a little tweak here, or even running an operational process the BA might support. Whereas a project manager will always work only on projects by default. Focus. I learned this one from one of my managers, Sean Six. He's also a mentor at SkillHat. And he always says that the PM must be wide, the BA must be deep. What does that mean? I'll add more context. A PM is involved in all the project knowledge areas. So if you understand project management, like when you learn in our class, you'll see a project has 10 knowledge areas: integration, scope, schedule, cost, quality, risk, procurement, communications, right? And so as a PM, you're involved in everything. You're making sure it's all fully integrated. You're making sure that whenever you're bringing on people and time and money, resources such as people, those people, when they're available, it has to work with the budget, it has to work with the quality. Whenever a risk comes up, maybe a market risk, you have to account for that and address that risk. So you're involved in everything, and you're kind of wide. You might have multiple countries that a project spans across, and so you're kind of spread really, really far. You have to be spread really, really far to manage the whole project and make it all integrated. Now, the BA is very different in terms of focus. They're more deep on scope and quality. So as a BA, your focus is really those two things: the scope of the project, what exactly are the requirements, documenting it in a massive requirements document, listing out all the features of your product, or listing out all the, if you're doing an event, for example, listing out every single thing about the event. What kind of microphones do we need versus what kind of tables, what's the quality of the covers, like the last detail of every single requirement, right? You do that as a BA. And that's why we have the separation of roles. Okay, so I'm seeing another question to say that, is it fair that a BA analyzes needs and a PM implements those needs? What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep the questions, keep them coming. At the end, I will answer all the questions so that I'll be able to go through the whole presentation, and then maybe your question will be answered in the few slides coming up. So I hope this is just the start of the differences, but I hope this kind of gives you a good sense of the difference between both. Okay, I'll look for a few more things I want to say here, but this is essentially the big differences between both the PM and the BA, right? Accountability, responsibility. Again, this is the key one. PM manages resources, BA manages requirements. PM just works on projects, whereas the BA works on both projects and operations. PM is wide, BA is deep, and then PM is involved everywhere in the project, whereas BA focuses on documenting the scope of the project, listing out every single requirement by listing the requirements, interviewing stakeholders, doing surveys, prioritizing those requirements, and then doing some testing to ensure that whatever is built is in line with the requirements, and that's quality. Whereas the PM is doing everything, looking at the budget, looking at the risks, hiring a team, firing the team, etc. Next slide, in project context, right? So let's say we're designing an app, a website. Let's use a simple website. We have a client that says they want a website. Well, as the PM, I might put together a project contract. I might do some estimation to figure out what's the total cost for the project in terms of our internal cost of our development team and our design team and our sales team, and how much we're going to price this to the client. What's the markup, right? What's the difference between the revenue and the cost? Put together a budget, send to the client, get them to sign it, have a few meetings to schedule a whole project. And then BA might then come in to get the requirements, meet the stakeholders, meet the client, ask, well, who's in your team? What are the permissions that they will have? What's your problem? Why do you need the website? They document that in the requirements document. Then the BM might then design the interface and say, okay, from my understanding, you want a website or you want an app as well. Okay, here's how the app would work. When a user is on a website, this is how it will look versus, sorry, when a user is on a laptop, this is how it will look versus on a phone, this is how it will look. What features do you want? Oh, you want payments? Okay, great. Oh, you don't want payments? Let's scratch that off. What do you want? You want to integrate with your calendar system? Do you want alerts? So the BA is detailed in every single requirement that has to go into that website project, whereas the PM is more focused on the overall delivery in terms of schedule, in terms of scope, and in terms of budget, and then hiring the people, managing the people. So the PM will probably even bring on the BA, for example, if necessary. We looked at this one already, improving a business process. So we use the example of where we have to improve an HR business process. Let's use another example of improving a delivery process. Let's say we are competing with Amazon, or we are a delivery company, like a restaurant. And so there's a business process that involves delivering food to a customer. The BM might just try to understand, okay, to speed up delivery, we might have to do a few things. Maybe we have to give an alert whenever the customer is receiving, whenever the customer makes the order, he gets an alert that the food's being cooked. When the food is then cooked, the customer gets another alert that the food is cooked. When the food is on its way, he gets another alert. And then when the customer has gotten food, they could give a survey. So the BA tries to understand, what's the customer journey, what's the journey of the cook and the journey of the driver, and kind of figure out the business process and document that. So an engineering team can then build maybe an Uber Eats type of app or a DoorDash that can support that. Whereas the project manager, again, is always about the triple constraints: the scope, the schedule, the budget. So the PM might have to figure out how long was the project going to take, estimate the total cost of the project, ensure we have the funding from the sponsor, report on the work being done to the project sponsor, right? If work is not done fast enough, the PM has to kind of step in with the whip and maybe kind of encourage the team to work faster, or maybe bring in more resources, because to meet the deadline, we have to have more people working, that type of thing. So again, PM manages resources, BA manages requirements. The third one, we won't go into it, but this is more like a data migration project. Maybe at the end, if we have time, we'll talk about how it's different, but really, really quick here. If we have to migrate data from one app or one location to another, the BA might be deep in the data, looking at, okay, in system A, data is structured in this way. System B has a different type of structure. How do we make it the same? So when I extract the data from system 1 to system 2, it works the same, or it looks the same, and it's seamless. And those are some differences in project context, okay? How are we doing on time? We are 35 minutes in, okay. Let's look at some other things like the core skills. Here are some shared core skills of both the BA and the PM. So both of them need to have good communication skills, good documentation skills, great facilitation skills, meaning facilitating meetings and webinars like this and sessions, and change management, taking a company from a current state to a future state. Now, the BA has his or her own skill sets, and the PM has his or hers. The PM needs to be good at integration, making sure everything is integrated, as I said before, making sure that the client's needs are met by the team, making sure the sponsor is approving the budget, making sure that the budget is being put to good use, making sure that the schedule is going to allow us to deliver in time with the money we have. That's what you call integration. The PM has to be great at planning, being able to establish a goal and work backwards to figure out the steps to get there based on given constraints. Third is risk management, being able to manage risk, being able to being able to expose risks that people haven't even thought about or seen. Being able to effectively schedule the overall project, similar to planning, or a part of planning. Planning is everything, including scheduling. Budget management, being able to actually create the budget, being able to identify the total cost of the project, and being able to break that down into each cost of every single task or item, for example. A PM will also make a decision on methodologies. So we're starting off a project, the PM will make a decision to say, are we going to use a more agile approach or a more waterfall methodology? If you are not familiar with that, you can learn that, and you should learn that, and we can help you with that. A PM also has to be good at managing stakeholders, managing conflict, right? There's many project stakeholders in the team or in a project. And so the PM sees everything. PM is right here at the top. They see the sponsor who has the needs. They see the BA and the project team. The regulators have their concerns. Subject matter experts have their needs. So the PM has to balance out all those stakeholders and their needs to achieve project goals. Sometimes conflict will arise, and so you have to be able to manage that conflict as a PM. Now, the BA has her different skills or his different skills, such as modeling, which I've talked about before, being able to utilize a tool like Visio to visualize the business process. A BA has to have a lot more domain knowledge of that business than a PM. So that's another important thing. As a BA, you need to be able to understand the business process and that business itself. So to get into a BA role, you don't always have to have that business knowledge to get into the role. Like, for example, I've worked in healthcare. I knew nothing about healthcare before I worked in there. I worked in insurance, building insurance applications. I knew nothing about insurance before I went in there. I worked in government and e-learning in only 10 years of my career. But as a BA, I had to build that domain knowledge because to improve a business, you have to understand that business. 3 is process improvement as a skill set in itself. Is a skill set that you will have to learn as a BA. 4 is change management. So I think that's duplicated there by accident, but that's also a core BA skill. 5 is quality assurance and testing. You have to be able to test whatever you built, and you're in the best position to test it because you wrote the requirements. So you might put together a requirements document. The engineering team will build your application, or implement the new business process, do some automation. Your role is to go put on your quality assurance QA analyst hat, work with the QA team, or work independently depending on the role. And actually take your requirements document and say requirement A, customer should be able to open an account. Open the account. Does it work? Yes, then it's passed. Requirement B, customer should receive an alert when the order is ready. Make the order ready. You get an alert in your email. Yes, great. No, fail, send it back to the team and say this specific requirement has not been fulfilled. And so you will do a lot of testing as a QA, test planning, test script documentation, and actually executing the test. Okay. Another BA skill is business case development. We've talked about that, being able to create a document to justify why we should make an investment into a project. Data analysis is also another skill that you will need to learn as you get more advanced in your BA career, being able to use tools like Excel at the basic level to do things like pivot tables, to do some analysis, figure out trends, VLOOKUPs, etc. And then some more advanced analytical techniques like SQL, structured query language, using Tableau and tools like Power BI to visualize data. Now, at an advanced level for a BA skill set, you might need to do some programming, some SQL data queries to kind of get data from a system to figure out customer behavior and trends and things like that. Okay. Feel free to put in your questions. I'll take a pause here for water, and I'll just check out questions in the chat. Okay. So it's all about the money. I see that's my guy Heisenberg there. Show of hands if you watched the show Breaking Bad. I love that show. And so what's the average salary for an experienced BA versus a PM, right? So for a PM in Toronto, according to Glassdoor, the average salary is $87K for a PM, and for a BA is $78K. Now this is for someone who's experienced, so over 3 years of experience, 3 to 5 years, but it gets way more as you advance in your career. And as you can drive, as you can show your value to a company, you can put your into an industry, to be specific, because you can go from one company in an industry to another. If you can show that you've been able to drive business performance and business process improvement in that industry. And so we have people taking our BA courses at SkillHat and coming out and landing 6-figure job, paying over 100K. That's full-time. And it gets even more when you go contract. We have people who finish the course and they're earning up to $100 an hour on contract working for the government, for example, right? And at $100 an hour, every year we have how many hours in the year? We have 2,000 hours in the year. So that's about 200K in that year from that specific role. And you can make that as a BA when you're more senior and you're working on contract. Same thing for PMs, right? I personally, in my last role, had to hire about 14 team members, including developers, including QA analysts, and the BA budget for those roles were well over these amounts we're seeing here. So it's a good salary by most measures. And again, it only goes up once you're in and you get the experience. All right, so how are we doing? You guys could throw in anything in the chat. We're at 2:42 right now. I think I'm gonna try to finish this in another 5 minutes. Any questions? Is it clear so far? Anything that we haven't covered that's important to you? Feel free to throw it in the chat. So how do they both work together, the PM and the BA? So I have another poll here. Show of hands if you are familiar, or not show of hands. I guess you got to take a poll. If you are familiar, I'm going to set the other poll up. If you're familiar with something called the project lifecycle or the system development lifecycle, so the PMLC or the SDLC. If you're familiar or not, please put your vote in the poll. So are you experienced, meaning that you've led projects through the SDLC? Are you exposed, meaning you've read about it, you've heard about it? Or do you have limited knowledge, which means you've heard about it, but you're not really sure 100%? Or are you just completely unclear what this means? Okay, so we have 33 of 43 votes so far. Okay, 36 of 43. So here's the results. 22% say that they're experienced, 30% say that they're exposed to it. They have learned about it in theory, which is 11 people. 24%, they've just heard about it, have limited knowledge, and another 24% are not clear on it. So in total, we have 48% on the side that's unclear, 32% on the side that are kind of exposed and learned about it in theory, and 21% have some experience in that. So great. Thanks for that feedback. We're going to end that poll right now. And so what is the PMLC or the SDLC? We're not going to go into it in depth, but essentially it's a standard framework that projects are led through. We start the project, or rather there's pre-project work that we have to figure out, should we even execute this project or invest in this project? Then we start the project, then we plan it out, we do the work, and we complete the project. The phases from starting off to completing is called the project lifecycle, and the work before we actually start is called pre-project work. That's in a nutshell the PMLC in 30 seconds, the project management lifecycle. And so through the project lifecycle, how do the PM and the BA work together? Well, first off is pre-project right here, right? As you can see, there's a business case that's done pre-project. And so in pre-project phases, the PM role does not exist because there's no project. And so all that's happening here is a BA working with, a manager, working with a VP and all the different stakeholders and customers to figure out the business case, to figure out what is this problem? How big is this problem? How many people are affected by this problem? Should we invest in this? Okay, if so, what solutions exist? There's 3 solutions, great. What's the cost of each solution? What are the risks? And then we make a decision and we make a proposal, and then that gets approved. Once that's approved, great, congrats, we can start the project. And so to start off the project, the PM will kick off by creating a project charter with all the constraints of the project as per the business case, and then the BA will support the PM to start the project. Through the planning phase, the PM creates a project plan with the project constraints like the schedule, the scope, the cost, the quality, and then the BA will then further decompose the scope, break down the scope. Decompose is a technical word for breaking down through requirements management. To carry out the work, the PM will acquire and lead the resources. So the PM will actually have to hire a project team or maybe bring them from another department, right? You might have to bring on new team members as contractors, or you might have to go to another functional manager and go to head of engineering and say, I need an engineer for this project. Go to head of design and say, I need a designer for this project, right? Go to a marketing team and say, I need a marketing person to help me test once I've built out the solution. So the PM will acquire and lead both human and non-human resources, whereas the BA will clarify requirements to the team. So once the PM is brought on the team when they're doing work, the BA will then maybe clarify, okay, this is what this requirement meant. When I double click, I want the double click to show a like of this photo, right? Because we're building out a new version of Instagram, for example. The BA will further refine the requirements at a very detailed level. For example, saying, I want the like to show it's red. And when it's not a like, I want to show as green. So just specifically breaking it down. The BA will then test to ensure quality. So at the end of the project, the PM will close it up. So that's the PM's role. The PM kind of kicks it off and ends it, and BA kind of supports through the project. And that's how they work together through the SDLC or the PMLC. Any questions here, feel free to drop it in the chat. I see questions which I'll answer later. So where are you better suited? Where should you go? Here's some guidance. Personality traits. The PM is a big picture guy or big picture girl. He or she will see the forest. Like they're gonna see everything and make sure it's all working together to get to the goal. You have to be motivated and strong-willed. You have to be a planner, a leader, a coordinator who's coordinating people, a numbers guy, a numbers girl. Numbers meaning if I start today and it takes 25 days and there's 2 days of holiday, when will I end, right? If I start today and I'm spending 100K a week and I get to my 5th week and I'm not done, how much will I have spent? How much extra will I need, right? The numbers around your project from a schedule perspective, from a cost perspective. You're a mediator. You are, mediating any kind of conflict that arises across team members. And you have to be decisive. You have to make a decision and go for it. And that's the kind of personality you have to have. So if this sounds like you, then you are in a good position to go into a PM career. Now, a BA, on the other hand, needs to be also big picture, but with a more strong focus on being detail oriented, right? So you're seeing the whole forest, but you're thinking, what kind of trees do I need to have in this section to have a wonderful forest that has all the different kind of trees that I really want, right? So as a BA, you have to be super detail oriented, where you're looking at every single pixel and it has to be pixel perfect. You have to be quite analytical. So if that describes you, you could be a great BA. You have to be curious because you have to do a lot of research. You have to do a lot of reading to understand best practice, to understand customer needs, to be able to predict what customers should want, do some analysis with do some linear regression to say if we have 100 customers a day and we're growing by this rate, then by next 3 months, we're gonna have this number of customers and therefore we have this type of product automation. So that kind of analytical thinking is what you need to have to be a successful BA. You have to also have a teaching type spirit where you wanna educate people and help people transition from current state to future state. You have to be a tester. You have to like to test out things and try out things, but also test to break things, right? Meaning that you built a solution, you built an app or a system, you got to test it out under all kinds of circumstances to ensure that when we have 1 million people come on this new system that's kind of like a Netflix or a movie app, it's not going to break the system. Okay, so those are some of the personality types you have to have as a BA. So how do you know it's not a good fit for you, right? So sometimes to know if we should do something, we should just know what we hate to do, right? How I figured out what I wanted to do was first by figuring out what I hated doing, right? So I see someone says they want to see the previous slide. Guys, we're gonna have a chance to watch it again. Don't worry, you have the full 1 hour recording and you can watch it at any time that you please on our YouTube. Red flags. How do I know it's not a good fit for me? One, if you might not be ready for a PM role if you don't want to lead team members, right? You want to be in the back of the class, just throwing papers at your friends. I'm kidding, like we were in class in high school. But the point is, if you aren't ready to lead the project, be that person in the front, you might not be a good fit for a PM role. If you don't want to have that high visibility, right? So as a project manager, you are high visibility. People know you because they know that project, right? So if you're not ready for that, you don't want that kind of attention, you don't want that smoke, maybe you're not ready for a PM role. If you don't want to manage resources like people and money, you don't want to manage people or manage money, you don't really care if it's $1 million, you just want to get your little analytical work done, you might not be a good fit for a PM role. And then there's a lot of administrative burden with the PM role. Administration meaning your contractors, you're going to have to sign your timesheets. You're going to have to ensure that what's in the timesheets is what really happened, right? Calling people out and saying, hey, you didn't work on the weekend. That's not true. Why is this here, right? Being able to submit stuff through these systems, these portfolio management systems. If you don't want all of that administration work, you might not want to be a PM. You might not want to be a BA if for example, you don't want to grow to be more technical. So as you grow in the BA career, you have to grow into having more domain expertise, having more technical skills to grow, being able to go into configuration and design, and not just requirements documentation, but more technical skills. And so if that's not your thing, you want to be more, high level project management, scheduling, vision, big picture, managing people, then maybe you might want to sway towards the PM side, not the BA side. If you're not analytical and you don't like to sit down and do some data analysis with Excel or whatever, the BA might not be a great fit for you. If you don't like research, you don't like testing, you don't like training people, you don't like design, you don't like configuring stuff, then a BA might not be a good fit for you. Now, how do I know I don't want to do either one of these, right? Because there's people who should not be either a BA or a PM. Maybe you should go be a developer, or maybe you should go do something different. How do you know? Well, if you are not keen to drive change and business process improvement, then maybe neither role works for you. If you don't like to solve problems, you're just a little bit on this one. What I mean is, if you are not trying to, if you like a role where it's kind of repetitive, you're doing the same thing over and over. Maybe you're like a cashier, or even like a nurse, where once you finish your nursing school, you've been trained how to administer injections and how to do ABCD, and you don't want to keep changing that. Well, by definition, when you're a BA and a PM, you're always driving change. And so it might not be a good fit for you. If you don't want to solve complex problems, neither one might be a good fit for you. If you prefer to work alone, like you prefer to work with your laptop, doing some coding, or you want to work as a delivery man, delivering packages, just being alone in your car with your music, then neither PM nor BA role might be a good fit for you. And again, like I mentioned, if you want to work on repeatable tasks without change, then neither one of these roles is probably a fit for you, and we can find you what's the better fit for your personality. So I'll go through this really, really quick. It's a list of 10 things that show why the PM and the BA role are good careers. They're very similar, as you can see, in what they do. They both work on projects together. And on some massive projects, there'll be one PM, many BAs. And some small projects, you might do both. You might work as both the BA and the PM, right? So I've done that, where on some projects, it's a small project. I'm managing the people and the requirements. On some projects, I'm only a BA. Some projects, I'm only a PM, right? So you can do either one of those three. But the point is, you can drive impact, which makes it a good career. You can earn a high income. Anyone can be a BA or a PM, no matter where you're coming from. I know people who are coming in who have been BAs, or who are BAs and PMs, who took our classes from backgrounds like customer service, marketing, healthcare, development, marketing, right? Anyone can be a BA. Doesn't matter who. One of our instructors, David Verbanik, big European guy, he was a linguistics trainer. He trained in French, and he picked up the BA skills a while ago, and now he's an expert BA and a BA trainer. And so also you could work remote, which is awesome. A lot of us like to work remote. I'm working remote, but I like to wear a suit. You could be in your pajamas in your bed, working remote, making money. You can do that. There's a lot of demand. It's going to always keep growing. As long as there's change in businesses, then there'll be a need for a change manager, and that's you as a BA or a PM. No two days are the same. You can work on contract or on full-time positions. You're always at the forefront of innovation. You can work in any industry that you want. You're not pigeonholed to banking or oil and gas or fashion. You can work in any industry with these skill sets, and you work with different stakeholders who keep you on your toes. There's an article on our website. Go to skillhat.ca. You can read a lot more about why these are good careers, and other articles that we have. Go to skillhat.ca/learn, or just go to skillhat.ca. You see an article specifically about this that breaks it down further. So for the part a lot of us wanted to figure out, how do I actually do it, right? How do I go from where I am to where I want to be? Well, you got to get off Facebook and put your face in a book. That's what you got to do. First, you need training. Skill Hat offers instructor-led hands-on training. Our project management course is 10 weeks. Our BA course is about 7 weeks. Only on weekends for these courses, so 4.5 hours a week in class, practical hands-on training, learning tools like Jira, learning tools like Balsamiq, Visio for the BA spectrum. For the PM spectrum, you're learning more tools like Smartsheet, Microsoft Project, you're learning about scope management, etc. After that, step 2 is career development. That entails working on your resume with you. We will assign you a one-on-one career development lead who is also a senior PM or a senior BA, depending on what role you're looking for. So this is the 7 weeks or 10 weeks. Now, after that is another 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how fast you go with your career development. This is dedicated. This is a group class of about 15 to 20, depending. This is a one-on-one service where you're assigned to a career development person to work with you on your career goals. Now, depending on if you have experience or not, you can get an internship. Now, if you have experience and you want to just quickly jump into the role and be successful, you could jump right to step 5, which is job success. But if you want to work an intern a little bit, if you don't have a lot of experience, maybe you want to work in tech and you don't have any tech experience, you could work for 3 months with a tech startup. So SkillHat has partnerships with tech startups in Canada, in the US, and the UK, where you could actually work as an intern part-time. It could be paid or unpaid. So these internships are usually about 10 to 15 hours a week, sometimes 20 hours a week, including weekends and weekdays, evenings and days flexible. So you actually get to practice as a BA, practice as a PM. And one of our alumni just got a job today working with a UK startup called Afrilens, doing some product management for their influencer marketing application. And so that is something I will help you with. We'll get you placed in an internship after your training and career development. Step 4 is networking. So through the class, we always have hiring managers from top companies like banks, tech companies, recruiters. They'll come in and you network with them and you get to understand what exactly does a hiring manager for a PM really want. You get to ask them these questions and network with them in a relaxed environment. You also get to network with previous alumni of the courses who are very successful today. And then last but not least, once you have a strong resume, guaranteed you will get interviews. When you get interviews and you follow our steps to how we guide you in answering the interview questions, telling your own unique story, being able to find the right role for you based on your experience. Once you know the right role for you, you have a strong resume, you're gonna get interviews, you nail the interview, you're gonna get the job success. And to further help you in your first job, we have a weekly check-in, or rather a week 1 check-in. At the end of week 1, we have a day 1 check-in. When you're done with day 1, we check in with you, figure out how things are going, advise you on how to manage your specific project. Then we have a week 1 check-in on the last day of the week. And then we have a month 1 check-in. So 3 check-ins when you get your first job to help you succeed. We also have templates and tools and libraries. So we have all these types of artifacts and libraries that you can utilize in your first role as a PM. So you don't have to do it from scratch. Let's say you have to create a project charter. You can just get a SkillHat template. Boom, boom, boom. You create it real quick. You look like a star at your new job, right? Same thing for a BA. You want to create a requirements document or a wireframe or a test plan. All those libraries are there for you. Just take it, best practice templates, and you can utilize them. That's our 5-step process. It's the same depending on if you want to go into a BA or a PM role. Difference being that the PM course is 10 weeks and the BA course is 7 weeks. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time. Thank you for giving you guys a round of applause for making it through our 1 hour. Dang, it's 3 o'clock. It's 1 hour. I apologize for taking a lot of your time. The plan was to do it in 40 minutes, but we'll try and make it faster if possible, although I got some feedback that it was too fast. So really, really quick, we'll do a poll. If this was a good session for you and you were able to, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest score, how well has this session helped you better differentiate the role of a PM versus a BA? So I'm seeing a few 5s, 16 5, 17 5, 18 5s. I'm seeing 2 4s. For those who rated it a 4, I would love if you could put in the comments, anyone who didn't put it at a 5 to be specific, if you put it at anything less than a 5, if you could put in the chat what you would have loved to hear or to see to help you rate it a 5, that would be great. We love feedback. And this is what we call a fist of 5. A fist of 5 is where you get everyone to rate what you've done in terms of a training session you've done as a BA or any kind of session on a scale of 0 to 5. So thank you, everyone. I see your chat comments. I have another poll. Thank you for all your comments. So I see from, there's a lot of questions. We're going to answer the questions. We have a few more things before you have to leave or before you leave. I wanted to mention something about our scholarship program. if you qualify. Then I want to get some feedback on the next session. So we do these weekly webinars. So the first question I'm going to ask is, so I'm going to end the poll now at 87%, 5 out of 5, and 13%, 4 out of 5. Thank you for that feedback. The next poll, we're going to ask you for the timing. So should we change this time for the webinar? It's 2 o'clock to 3 p.m. right now, Eastern Standard Time. That's for work hours for some people. But do you want to continue to do that? Or do you want to change it to after work hours, maybe 5 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. or maybe a different time during work hours, but at a different time that's not 2 o'clock, or just keep it at the current time? Let me get your feedback, please. Thank you. All right, so I'm looking at the chat while you guys put the poll in. I see great seminar. Thank you. Lincoln says it was great. If you want to get the recording, we'll send that to you. Are scholarships available? I'll give you that. Yes. Do we have partnership with companies in Nigeria? Yes, we do. I see great session, awesome webinar. Thank you for the feedback. Okay, great seminar. Thank you, Nee. Thank you, Melissa. Himani, Anoma. Anoma says she loved it and it was clear because you've been researching it for days and you liked how we use actual project context. Okay, great. Thank you all for your feedback. I see that most people want this seminar or this webinar to be after work hours, so done. Next one will be after work hours. The next webinar, we'll release it end of day today. Thanks for that feedback. Now let's talk about the scholarship. So for everyone who has attended, you get a chance to get a scholarship to a Skill Hat PM or BA course. Our project management course costs $1,650 Canadian dollars, 1,650, and that's all in, including everything we've talked about here. All in $1,650. The BA is $1,500 for all in everything, and then the PM $1,650. Now, for those of us who are here who qualify to get a scholarship into the program, it will reduce your tuition fees significantly. To qualify, you have to have these 3 things. 1, you have to be in North America or in the UK. So that's Canada, that's US or in the UK. That's 1 location. 2, you have to have work experience, business work experience or technology work experience for at least 1 year, at least 1 year of work experience. And then 3, you have to have training and education, a post-secondary degree in business or technology. So again, location, UK, Canada, or US, work experience over a year, and then business education or technology education. With that, your course fees will significantly reduce. And so the next steps for you is to apply for a program if you are interested in becoming a BA or a PM and go through this 5-step process. And so to apply, it's very simple. Just go to skillhat.ca/apply, or just go to skillhat.ca, apply for our program. You will be in the system. What will happen is that 1, you will get a chance to be connected with by one of our team members who will reach out and get a sense of where you want to go and help you get there, bring you into the program. The next PM date, the next project management course start date is October 2nd. The next BA course start date is September 10th. September 10th is coming up really, really close, so apply now before it gets full. And if that's too close for you, apply today still, because there's a chance it might move a week or 2, because we're seeing that with the webinars. A lot of people are trying to get in the classes, but it might be close for some, so there's a chance it might move. So apply still. At least you'll be in the system. You get emailed about webinars coming in, etc. And so that's our time. That's our time, everyone. I'm just going to answer some questions really, really quick before we jump off this webinar. Let's see. Salaries that we showed were in Canadian or USD. It's the same. Like if you are in the US, it'll be 87,000 USD. If you are in Canada, it'll be 87,000 Canadian. It's kind of weird how it works, but that's how it works right now. So the hack is, if you are in Canada and you want to get a job that pays more, get a job that pays remote from a US company working from Canada. So you get that currency arbitrage, that difference where you're making 87,000 plus USD as opposed to Canadian, but you're spending your cost are in Canadian dollars. Okay, can we watch the webinar again? Of course, recording will be posted on YouTube. Other questions? Let's see. The question is the professional exam done during the week? So there's an exam that you can do if you want to be a project manager. You don't have to be certified to become a project manager. So the exam is called a PMP exam, or you can also do a Scrum Master certification called the CSM. You don't need to do the PMP or the CSM to get a job, although we do recommend that once you're done with your training, you get a job, get certified, because it will separate you from the competition. But to get into a role, you don't have to have that certification. On the BA side, it's called the Certified Business Analyst Professional, the CBAP by IIBA. So PM is the PMP, BA is the CBAP, and then there's other early certifications like the ECBA, CCBA. It's a whole world of certifications, but reach out to us, we'll help you figure it out. Okay. Other questions. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Do you have to have all the requirements to qualify for the scholarship? Yes, you have to be in the locations, you have to have the experience and the business education background. So all three to actually get the scholarship. Okay, that's it. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for joining our SkillHat webinar. Let's build a future. We will see you next week if you're joining. If you want to take the course, go to skillhat.ca to apply. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.